My name is Emily, and I'm 27 years old. I live in a quiet town nestled in the mountains. My husband, Noah, is 31, and we've been married for 3 years. Noah isn't like other men I know. He's a man of few words, calm and composed. He doesn't speak often, but when he does, his words are always kind, his voice soft, and his touch gentle. He's the kind of man who helps me with the groceries without being asked, who always holds the door open for me, and brings me a warm cup of tea when he notices a chill in the air. Noah works as a mechanic, fixing cars and trucks. His work clothes carry the distinct scent of oil and metal, and his hands are rough and strong from years of labor. His day starts at 8 in the morning and ends at 6 in the evening. Every night, he returns home with weariness in his eyes, but the moment he sees me, a genuine smile spreads across his face. We live in a small wooden house with 2 bedrooms and a tiny kitchen. The walls are thin, and during the winter, a draft seeps through the old window frames. Our heater is an old, noisy machine, but it provides just enough warmth to keep us comfortable. I work at the town library, a peaceful place that I love. The smell of old books and the quiet atmosphere suit me. My salary isn't much, about $3,000 a month. Noah brings in around $2,000. Together, we manage. It's not a lot of money, but we make it work. Still, there are times I find myself wanting more. I see other women in town dressed in new clothes, holding the latest phones and driving nice cars. Their husbands take them on vacations, and they post photos on social media, smiling by the ocean, drinks in their hands. Then I look at Noah. His shoes are worn and his phone has a cracked screen. He has no interest in money or fashion and doesn't use social media. "Why would I need it?" he once said. "I already have everything I want." But I wondered, did I? One evening, as we sat at our small dinner table, I broke the silence. We were eating the soup and bread I had prepared. "Noah," I began, "do you ever wish for something more?" He looked up from his bowl, his expression curious. "What do you mean by more? More money? A bigger house?" "A better life." He fell silent for a long moment, thinking. Then he said softly, "I wish I could give you more." His answer settled heavily in my heart. I hadn't meant to hurt him. I just wanted him to dream bigger, to try harder. "You're smart," I said, my voice filled with a desperate hope. "You could learn new skills, maybe even start your own garage, be your own boss." He offered a sad smile. "I don't know the first thing about running a business," he replied. Frustration welled up inside me. "Then learn," I insisted. "Try something new. You can't just stay in the same place forever." He looked down at his half-eaten soup, his silence fueling my anger. I started comparing him to others, saying things I knew I would regret. Thomas just bought a new truck. Sarah's husband is launching a startup in the city. Everyone is moving forward, doing something with their lives. Why aren't you? He looked at me then, and I saw the deep hurt in his eyes. But he didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He just said, "I'll try." That night, sleep eluded me. My mind raced with thoughts of the future. We wanted to have children someday, but could we afford it on our current income? I yearned for a safe home for them, a life where we didn't have to count every single penny. The next morning, Noah left for work earlier than usual. He kissed my forehead gently and said, "I'll be home late." I simply nodded. "Okay, be safe." The days turned into a week. He consistently came home late, looking more exhausted each day. When I asked where he went after his regular job, he said he was looking for some extra work. A week later, he came home holding a piece of paper. It was an offer for a part-time job at a warehouse, working the night shift. It would bring in an extra $1,200 a month. I was overjoyed. I threw my arms around him. "Thank you, Noah. This will help us so much." He kissed the top of my head and whispered, "I hope so." At first, things improved. With the extra money, we paid off some outstanding bills. I bought myself a new winter coat. We even went out for a nice dinner, something we hadn't done in a very long time. But then, I started to notice a change in Noah. The laughter disappeared from his voice. He no longer hummed in the shower. He stopped asking about my day at the library. He looked pale and perpetually tired, and his hands trembled slightly when he poured his morning coffee. Often, he would fall asleep on the couch before we even had dinner. One night, I woke up to find him sitting on the edge of our bed, clutching his chest. "Noah," I cried, rushing to his side. "Are you okay?" He nodded slowly, his voice a hoarse whisper. "Just tired." I sat beside him, taking his hand in mine. "You're working too much," I said. "We need the money," he replied, his voice strained. "I want to give you a better life." Tears welled in my eyes as a wave of guilt washed over me. I had pushed him to this. I had made him feel like he wasn't enough. "Noah," I sobbed, "I don't want you to destroy yourself for me." He looked at me, his eyes red from lack of sleep. "I just want you to be proud of me." "I am," I said softly, "but I don't want to lose you." He nodded, but I could see the immense struggle he was enduring. 2 weeks later, the inevitable happened. He came home late, walked through the door, and dropped his bag. He tried to say my name, but the word caught in his throat, and he collapsed to the floor. "Noah!" I screamed, running to him. His body was shaking, and his skin was cold and clammy. My hands trembled so violently I could barely dial 911. At the hospital, the doctor's words were stark. "He's suffering from severe exhaustion. His body is shutting down. He needs complete rest. No work, no stress for a long time." I sat in the chair beside his bed, watching him sleep. He looked so small and fragile, like a child. I held his hand and wept. "I'm so sorry," I whispered. "I forgot what really matters." He slowly opened his eyes. They were weak, but his gaze was as kind as ever. "You didn't forget," he said softly. "You just got a little lost for a while." I nodded, tears streaming down my face. "Noah, I don't need a big house or a new car. I just need you." He squeezed my hand. "I'm not going anywhere." That night, I stayed by his side. Work, money, the future, none of it mattered. All I wanted was for him to get better. I finally understood that love isn't found in gold or expensive gifts. It's in the quiet, simple things. A warm hand in yours, a soft voice in the dark, a tired smile that still shines just for you. Noah had given me those things every single day. I just hadn't been able to see it clearly, but now I did. Noah remained in the hospital for 3 days. The doctors administered fluids and vitamins and repeatedly told him to rest, eat well, and quit one of his jobs. I stayed with him the entire time, bringing him books from the library and gently brushing his hair with my fingers. We didn't talk much, but when we did, our words were gentle and careful, as if we were relearning the language of our love. On the 3rd day, he was discharged. The nurse looked at me seriously and said, "No stress, you hear me? His body is not a machine. It needs time to heal." I nodded. I understand. But deep down, a profound fear lingered, fear of how close I had come to losing him, fear of the pressure I had put on him, and fear of the world we still had to navigate. Back home, everything felt different. The house was the same, small, old, and a little drafty, but something fundamental within it had shifted. That night I made soup and we ate on the couch. Noah rested his head on my shoulder as we watched the snow fall softly outside the window. It was quiet, simple, and felt incredibly full. I missed this, I whispered. Noah looked up at me. What? Us, I said. Just being close, just being safe, he smiled. I missed it too. That night, as we lay in bed, I asked, what if we just slow down? What if we stop chasing after everything all at once? He was quiet for a moment, thinking. But what about the future? He asked. I turned to face him. We'll still have a future, but let's build it together without breaking ourselves in the process. The very next day, Noah quit his night job. He went back to working only at the garage, coming home before the sun set. He started taking naps on the couch, and slowly the color returned to his cheeks. His laughter, a sound I had dearly missed, began to fill our small home once more. I started cooking more elaborate meals and made time for us to take long walks. In the evenings, we would read books together. We stopped focusing on what we didn't have and began to truly appreciate all that we did. But it wasn't a fairy tale. Money was tight again. The hospital bills arrived and the old heater needed repairs. My new coat was warm, but it was a single new item in a wardrobe of old clothes. Sometimes, late at night, I would still feel that familiar ache in my chest, the fear, the longing for more security. One evening, I watched Noah as he worked on fixing a leaky pipe under the sink. He had a smudge of grease on his cheek and a wrench in his hand. A thought struck me with sudden clarity. He was trying. He had always been trying. And in that moment, an idea began to form. The next day, I stayed late at the library, researching free online courses and guides on how to start a small business. I put together a simple plan. When I got home, I found Noah on the porch, sipping tea. I have something to show you, I said. He looked surprised. What is it? I handed him a small folder. I did some research, I explained. What if we started something together? You know cars, and I know books and how to organize things. Maybe we don't have to choose just one path. He opened the folder. Inside, I had outlined a plan for a mobile mechanic service. Noah could fix cars at people's homes, and I could manage the appointments and the finances. We wouldn't need a big, expensive garage, just his tools and our time. He looked at me, a real, genuine smile spreading across his face. You did all this? I nodded. You don't have to say yes, but maybe little by little we can build something that's truly ours. He held the papers and looked out at the mountains. Let's try, he said. That night, we didn't talk about money. We talked about our dreams. In the following weeks, things began to move, slowly but surely. Noah arranged to work part-time at the garage, freeing up 2 days a week. I designed and distributed flyers around town and mentioned our new service to patrons at the library. At first, we got one call, then another, then a third. The income was modest, but it was honest and it was ours. We called it Noah's Fix-It Van. I built a simple one-page website with his photo, our services, and our phone number. People liked him. They said he was kind, careful, and charged fair prices. One woman left a review online. He fixed my brakes and didn't try to sell me anything I didn't need. An honest man. That review made Noah blush. I just did what anyone would do, he said, but not everyone does, and that's what made him special. Months passed. Spring arrived and wildflowers bloomed along the roadside. I felt lighter. Our house still had thin walls, but now laughter filled the spaces between them. One day, as we sat on a picnic blanket by the lake, Noah turned to me. "Emily," he said, "do you remember the night I collapsed?" I nodded slowly. "I'll never forget it." "I thought I had failed you," he confessed. "I thought you were going to leave me." I looked into his deep, kind eyes. "I never wanted to leave, Noah. I just wanted to feel safe. I forgot that I already was." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a tiny, folded piece of paper. "I wrote this for you when I was in the hospital." I carefully unfolded it. The note was simple, containing a single sentence. "Even if I have nothing, I still have you, and that is everything." Tears filled my eyes. "I should have written one for you, too," I whispered. "You still can." So that night, I did. I wrote. I thought love had to be shiny and loud, but it's not. It's soft, it's steady. It's the way you hold my hand when I'm tired. That's the real thing. We placed both notes in a small wooden box and kept it in the drawer by our bed. Whenever life feels hard, we open that box. One morning, I woke up feeling different. My body felt strange, tired, but not in a sick way. I stared at the ceiling for a long time before a thought whispered through my mind. Could it be? I took a test at the clinic that afternoon. I was pregnant. When I got home, Noah was under a car in the driveway. I walked over. "Hey, can you come out for a minute?" He rolled out on his back, his face smudged with dirt and sweat. "What is it?" I handed him the paper from the clinic. He read it once, then a second time. He looked up at me, his hands beginning to shake again, but this time it wasn't from exhaustion. He scrambled to his feet and pulled me into a fierce, gentle hug. "We're going to be parents," he whispered into my hair. "Yes," I said, my voice thick with emotion. "We are." And for a moment, the world stopped spinning. All the noise, the worry, the pressure, it all faded away. What was left was love. A quiet, steady, resilient love. The kind that doesn't need diamonds or beach vacations. The kind that holds you up when you fall, that fixes a broken sink even when your back aches, and that whispers, "Let's try again," after a long, hard day. It wasn't the life I had dreamed of as a little girl. It was so much better. It was real, and it was ours.